what's happening around the world,
and what's happening here at home. A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News here on TV1. Bringing you the news, I'm Hashni Pathirana.
And I'm Sandru Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Student unions, including IUSF, meet with Prime Minister. Election Commission sets expenditure limits for upcoming campaigns. Colombo candidates limited to 5.7 million rupees. 26 ships polluted the sea of Sri Lanka within 1 year, but legal action was against just one. MIPA report reveals. Approval granted to change name of school named after Kehelia.
A group of representatives from the Inter-University Students Federation and various university student organizations met with Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya for discussions today. The meeting focused on exploring solutions to the issues within the university system in the country.
A group of representatives from 16 universities across Sri Lanka, including those from the Student Power for Education Rights at Sri Jayawardenepura, Peradeniya, Colombo and Ruhuna, participated in a discussion held at the Prime Minister's office today.
During
today's discussion, several issues related to higher education institutions were raised, highlighting the unique academic and welfare challenges faced by students. We see progress in engaging in discussions following our requests. As student representatives, we recognize that our ongoing protests have brought us to this point. While immediate solutions may not be forthcoming, we remain committed to advocating for the student community. We hope the government will take effective action to address these issues, even if it takes time to achieve resolutions. The state university system and the broader higher education sector are currently facing a significant crisis. We have proposed urgent solutions to address these issues. The Mahapola scholarship is currently set at a mere 5,000 rupees. Due to the accommodation crisis, students at state universities are forced to rely on online learning for approximately 50 to 60% of their classes. Additionally, the shortage of lecturers has exceeded 50%. Today, we emphasized the urgent need for immediate action to resolve these challenges. We also highlighted specific issues impacting the university system as a whole. Therefore, we hope that necessary solutions will be provided promptly.
U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung reaffirmed the shared commitment to justice and safety of all Sri Lankans. Now, this was during the graduation ceremony for newly trained scene of crime officers.
A graduation ceremony was held today for 54 newly trained scene of crime officers from the Sri Lanka Police Criminal Records Division. The event marked the successful completion of an advanced crime scene investigation program supported by the U.S. State Department's Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs and the U.S. Department of Justice.
The globally recognized certification for our officers received today marks a milestone of their careers. It equips them with the competence and the competence to address any challenges they may face, ensuring they can provide expert evidence in any courtroom around the world as certified SOCO professionals. Moreover, it is increasingly complex and connected world. We understand that contemporary challenges such as transitional crime, terrorism, and extremism cannot be tackled by the single nation in the isolation. Now we are facing a big problem because of the scamming. You know, Your Excellency, we don't have such mechanism, we don't have such tools, we don't have the modern technologies. We are facing big problem. That's why we arrested many people, many foreigners here, but we cannot move forward without that type of tools, modern equipment. It is only through the partnership with nations like the United States that through program like STEP that we can effectively address these global threats.
Sri Lanka, as we know, has been facing numerous serious economic challenges, security challenges, and I know how difficult these past few years have been for the people of this country. The United States is committed to supporting our Sri Lankan partners through these challenging times, especially for efforts for economic prosperity, food security, and inclusive governance. Strengthening Sri Lanka's criminal justice system is also a critical component of these efforts. The rule of law, equal access to justice, accountability, victims' rights, these are all pillars of democratic legal systems and are essential to the safety and well-being of all Sri Lanka citizens, and the citizens who may fall under the direct jurisdiction of Sri Lanka's laws. It's vital that we collaborate with other countries to increase effectiveness against criminals who profit from transportation and distribution of narcotics, exploitation of people who are trafficked for labor and services to other countries, and those who use cyber to extort and exploit our citizens. We must ensure that our laws and internal policies are up to date and effective to deal with the threats we are now challenged with. So we must continue to be proactive. This training was wonderful, but it doesn't stop here. You have to continue. In each of these areas we can serve and how to serve our citizens effectively.
The event was attended by senior officials from both the US and Sri Lankan governments.
US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chang made a courtesy call on the Defence Secretary retired Air Vice Marshal Sampath Tuyakonta at the Defence Ministry in Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte yesterday. Discussions were centred on enhancing bilateral ties between the two countries. Defence Secretary retired Air Vice Marshal Sampath Tuyakonta expressed gratitude to US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chang for the recent donation of a new aircraft to the Sri Lanka Air Force and said that he expects to work closely with them. Subsequently, mementos were exchanged to mark the occasion. Military Relation Officer of the Defence Ministry, Air Vice Marshal Padman Di Costa, US Defence Attaché Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Nelson and US Office of Defence Cooperation Chief CDR Sean Jin were also present at the occasion.
The British High Commissioner Andrew Patrick visited the Eastern Province today.
During British High Commissioner Andrew Patrick's visit to Trincomalee, he held discussions with Governor of the Eastern Province, Professor Jayanta Lal Ratnasekara, on developments in the region and benefits for local communities.
We've had a very good conversation about the Eastern Province and the importance of development. And I told him I hope the UK can play a role in tackling some of the challenges that I know he's very keen to tackle in his role as governor.
Is this your first visit to Trincomalee?
It's my first visit since I became High Commissioner.
We had a cordial discussion, and His Excellency has agreed to give whatever the support that he can give, the British government can give us to develop the Eastern Province and the country.
Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka decides. Sri Lanka decides.
The Election Commission has officially announced the spending limits for political parties, independent groups and candidates in the upcoming election campaigns.
In the Colombo district, the highest expenditure cap has been set, allowing candidates to spend up to 5,750,000. Political parties and independent groups in Colombo may allocate a maximum of 79,493,756 rupees. For national list candidates in Colombo, the spending limit is established at 34,698 rupees. In the Gampaha district, candidates can spend a maximum of 5,643,387 rupees, while political parties or independent groups may expend up to 81,735,055 rupees. For national list candidates in Gampaha, the spending limit is established at 345,667 rupees. The lowest spending limit has been designated for the one electoral district, where candidates can allocate 1,673,243 rupees. For political parties or independent groups in Wani, the maximum expenditure is capped at 9,913,964 rupees. Nationalist candidates are allowed to spend 4,327 rupees on their campaigns. Candidates are required to submit a detailed expenditure report to the Election Commission within 21 days following the announcement of election results. The Election Commission mandates that the signatures of the party secretary, independent group leader, and candidates must be certified by the Commissioner for Oaths or a Justice of the Peace.
The Election Commission issued an extraordinary gazette notifying to mark the voters' left thumbs during the voting process of the LPTA Pradeshya Sabha elections. The little finger on the left hand of the voters was marked during the presidential election. The extraordinary gazette notification states that the decision was made to address potential issues that could arise during the marking process. According to the gazette, if the voter does not have a thumb on their left hand, another finger on their right hand will be marked. These were the views expressed by the Executive Director of the People's Action for Free and Fair Elections, or PAFREL, Rohana Hettiarachchi, regarding this matter.
There is no serious issue regarding this. Why? Because with two elections in close proximity, we believe that this decision was made based on the fact that the drying or removal of the ink could cause difficulties for the people. There is no big concern whether it is the thumb or the little finger. The Election Commission has digitalized the voter registry, which has taken away the opportunity for one person to be registered in 2 or 3 places. Also, an identity verification will take place at the polling stations. I believe that in the future, the laws must be changed.
SLPP General Secretary Sagara Karyawasam said that the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is ready to move forward with anyone who aligns with the policies of the party. He made this statement at several SLPP representatives from the Kegol district who had left the party during the presidential election and rejoined the party, pledging their support.
This discussion took place at the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna headquarters earlier today.
In the recent past, some of our long-standing strong supporters had distanced themselves from the party due to various disagreements. However, they have now reunited with the SLPP. The party is moving forward with renewed strength, and there is a shared belief that we must embark on this journey with new leadership. Preliminary discussions on this matter are currently ongoing, and a meeting specific to the Kegol district was held today.
අපි දැක්කා ඊයේ පෙරේදා සජ්ජබේ කීප දෙනෙකුත් කලකිරිලා මේ ඉවත් වෙනවා කියන කතාව කිව්වා. කොහොමද ඔවුන් සමග වැඩ කරන්න කැමතිද? ඔවුන් ඔබතුමාලගේ පාර්ශ්වය එක්ක කරගන්න කැමතිද? දැන් කීප දෙනෙක් අයින් වෙලා තියෙනවා සජ්ජබේ.
We are a party that bases our politics on principles. Our goal is to come into power through those principles. We are always open to anyone who is willing to accept our policies and join us in moving forward. However, our team will only work with those who agree to advance together with our policies and values.
The election operations heads of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna discussed future plans for the upcoming general election today. The discussion was chaired by the national organizer of the SLPP, Namal Rajapaksa.
Regardless of what other parties may assert, our party will remain united. You can say that the Bohutua has undergone a transformation. The party that exists today is not the same as before. It is a new entity with a fresh team and leadership, aligned with modern political dynamics. Therefore, I am confident that the revitalized Bohutua is ready to embark on a new journey. Recently, there has been significant turmoil regarding finances in Uganda. I am making this statement responsibly. That claim is false. My father responded when you asked him. Political positions and politics are two separate matters. Yesterday, I saw 3 people who had claimed to retire from politics sitting together, actively discussing political issues. As demonstrated by their conversation, this proves the point that politicians never truly retire.
A meeting to inform about the candidates put forward by the Samagi Janasandhana for the upcoming general election was held this afternoon in Colombo.
The meeting was chaired by the leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, Sajith Premadasa.
මේ නායකතුමා මොන වගේ මතක දුන්නේ?
නායකතුමා ඉන්නේ මතේ අපි දිනන්න ඕනේ කියලා. එතකොට අපි උත්සාහ කරන්නේ මේ රජය පිටවන්න. අපිට 113ක් කොමාරි අරගෙන මේ සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස අගමැති කිරීමේ වැඩ පිළිවෙල තමයි පක්ෂයක් හැටියට අපි තියෙන්නේ.
දැන් මේ ආර්ථිකයේ යන පිළිවෙල ගැන මොකෝ ඔබතුමාගේ අදහස?
මම විවේචනය කරන්න කැමති නැහැ. මොකද මම විවේචනය කරොත් කියයි කකුලෙන් අදිනවා කියලා. අපිට කියන්න තියෙන සියලුම දේ කිව්වා. අපි කිව්වා කරන්න පුළුවන් මොනවද බැරි මොනවද කියලා. මිනිස්සු බාරගත්තේ නැහනේ.
නායකතුමාද මොනවද කිව්වද?
කකුලෙන් අදින්න එපා කිව්වා ජනාධිපතිතුමාගෙන් අපේ යත් එක වැඩේ කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා කිව්වා. එයා ජනාධිපති වෙලානේ දැන් අවුරුදු 5කට. මේ රට කොට ගන්න අපිටත් හොඳ කණ්ඩායමක් ඉන්නවා වැඩ පිළිවෙලක් තියෙනවා. අපිට ඒකට එකට වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්.
අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා මේ රටේ ජනතාව පහුගිය අරගලයෙන් පස්සේ ආපු වේගය නිසා හැංගීම තමයි ඡන්දේ බවට පත් වෙලා තිබුණේ පහුගිය ජනාධිපතිවරණේ. ඒක බුද්ධියෙන් මෙහෙවන ඡන්දයක් බවට පත් කරන්න අපි ශක්තිමත් දේශපාලන ක්‍රියාදාමයක් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා.
Before the ballot.
Day by day, the political landscape increasingly favors the Samagi Jana Balavegya, revealing the lies of those in power. They are not true workers but rather deceivers. Despite serving 6 months in jail, questions remain about whether LOCS who defrauded the country will face further consequences. What penalties have been imposed on LOCS for his involvement in the central bank scam? How can those responsible for corruption in these financial scandals be held accountable? It seems a weak policy is being implemented. Sujiva, who accepted ransom and bribes from Aloysius, is among Sajid's closest allies. If they come to power, will Aloysius be in jail? Definitely not. It's baffling to see such madness unfold. We currently have a 3-member government which cannot be seen in any other country. Only those 3 have started work and everyone has already panicked. What will happen if the entire team gets into action?
දැන් තාම මේ යන්නේ මල් වට්ටි වෙන්දේසිය. තාම කැවිලි බඳුන් වෙන්දේසි, පළතුරු බඳුන් වෙන්දේසි පටන් ගත්තේ නේ.
From the past, a leader from the farmers' organization associated with the National People's Power in the Kurunegala district has been a strong advocate for farmers' rights in the parliament. But we haven't seen him in the media or addressing the president about the challenges faced by farmers recently. This situation proves how it is easy to criticize from the sidelines but difficult to take real action. Ranil Wickremesinghe said that foreign envoys tend to visit the country only during his tenure. What is happening now? A large number of foreign ambassadors and international organizations are engaging with the country, supporting efforts to move forward under the current president Anura Kumara Dissanayake. The projects that were previously halted by JICA have now resumed. Globally, Anura Kumara Dissanayake has gained recognition as an anti-corruption leader. Many countries value leaders like that. Many people are disappointed with the government due to recent decisions during this short period. Trust among the public servants has been broken and parents of students who faced the scholarship examination have also lost faith. Concerns about the International Monetary Fund have led to worries about the country's future and the risks of increased borrowing. When did we say that we will run a government without borrowing? Anura Kumara has consistently stated that debt is not a crime. It is necessary for investments. However, it should not be wasted on theft, fraud or corruption but used effectively. If the IMF had chosen not to provide the tranche, the narrative would be different. They might claim that the IMF has abandoned Sri Lanka and that the government has failed. Many have been waiting for a situation where the IMF would leave or be dismissed by an NPP government. However, we have successfully secured this loan tranche through diplomatic efforts in line with the established program. This support is essential for the country. They loudly claimed on the political stage that if they were elected, mafias and corrupt individuals would be controlled. Yet, we now see that prices for goods have increased as the dollar value has decreased. The prices for essentials like eggs, coconuts, onions, yams and rice are all higher under this government. When the dollar value decreases and the rupee strengthens, we should expect the prices of imported goods to fall. However, that has not changed. Now those who voted are happy, and even those who couldn't vote are expressing their happiness. How and who made these people happy? The most current decision taken by the people is what made everyone happy. That is what we call a country that is ruled by its people. For a long time the power was only in the hands of the rulers, but now the people are taking charge. Many of our young people were considering leaving the country, but who lifted our nation from the disgrace and humiliation? We don't believe that Anurukumara's government, which shed crocodile tears for government employees when they did not have power, genuinely cares about the meager salaries of those workers. They claim that raising salaries is problematic due to the treasury situation, yet they also suggest that salary increases are necessary. This contradiction is amusing. Their words and actions simply don't align. We are now hearing a lot of whining and cry from Sajid's team, calls for help and painful stories. It is filled with cries of distress. Along with these, there are signs of collapse and significant crises emerging. The dirt of some parties, including Sajid's and Ranil's teams, are starting to come out. I made significant efforts to form alliances with the United National Party and the Samagi Jana Balavegya for this general election, but unfortunately we were unable to achieve that. However, I remain hopeful that these groups will unite in the future because there are UMP members there and in our side as well. To restore these major parties, it is essential for both groups to come together. In the last election, the gas cylinder aimed to make the executive president come into power again. It is important to acknowledge that the powers of the executive presidency contributed significantly to over 220,000 votes he received, leveraging the full strength and resources of the state. However, today, that executive president is no longer in office and he is not seeking votes or serving on the national list. As a result, the gas cylinder has become a haven for those left without direction after Ranil Wickremesinghe's departure. One key focus of our discussion is how to create a country free from corruption and fraud. We are making a great effort in that as a party. Additionally, we are addressing critical issues in the economy, education and health, particularly for the 85% unemployed women in our country. We have implemented programs to support these women, helping them gain opportunities they deserve. Our party is on a significant journey and it is important that this isn't just our voice but yours as well. We invite you to join us in raising your voice for our country's future.
Before the ballot.
In a special statement today, former President and leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, called for an experienced parliamentary team that would take on their responsibilities without hesitation.
අවසන් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ වැඩ කටයුතු කරන අවස්ථාවේදී ගිය පාර්ලිමේන්තුව සමග මම ක්‍රියා කරා.
I worked with the last parliament to rescue the country from bankruptcy. Now we have to implement that sustainability agreement. It has been reported that the current president will submit amendments in this regard. If so, the parliament has the fiscal power to implement the revised agreement. It is the responsibility of the new parliament to implement it. We have several goals that must be implemented to achieve sustainability. First of all, we have to begin repaying our debt from the year 2028. By the year 2027, our government revenue should be 15% of the gross domestic product. Currently, that figure is 12%. To reach this goal, 1% growth should be achieved every year. By the end of this year, we can regain the levels of gross domestic product that was achieved in 2019. At the same time, we have to increase our foreign exchange reserves. Our foreign exchange reserve should be in the range of $12 to $14 billion. After meeting these goals, we have to pay off the debt. We have to achieve the above goals within this period. For that, we need to ensure rapid economic development. Another important aspect of this program is the implementation of a number of anti-corruption measures. Parliament is responsible for all these matters. According to the presidential election results, no party will get a majority in the parliament. Somehow, in order to fulfill the responsibilities of the new parliament, the negative experiences of the previous parliament cannot be repeated. During the last parliament, no one came forward to accept their responsibilities. I came forward and gathered members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, United National Party and the Pohotua and worked to form a government. Such incidents should not be repeated in the next parliament.
මම ඇවිල්ලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ හිටපු മന്ത്രിවරු පොහොට්ටුවෙත් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂෙත් ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂෙත් එකතු කරගෙන තමයි මේ ආණ්ඩුව හදලා වැඩ කටයුතු කරේ. මෙහෙම සිද්ධියක් ඊළඟ සැරේ වෙන එක අපි නවත්තන්න ඕනේ.
Newsfirst with the people.
Today is Wap full moon Poya, the last full moon of the Was season. Devotees engaged in various religious observances across the country.
Lord Buddha ascended from heaven of Tautisa and went to Sankasapura in Dambadiva on a full moon Poya day like today. The Sirasa Mami Poe Day program commenced this morning at the historic Aukana Raja Mahaviharya in Anuradhapura. The program commenced after observing the 8 precepts. The historic background of the Aukana Raja Mahaviharya was discussed during the Viharasana program. Chief incumbent of the Aukana Raja Mahaviharya, Venerable Shastraveli Amarakiti Thera, Professor Ajit Talwatha of Rajarat University and retired lecturer Chandimarana Singh engaged in the discussion. National Advisor to the Pirivan Education of the Ministry of Education, Venerable Dodampala Sri Rahula Thera, presided over the Sirasa Damsara program. The Sannasa program was broadcast from the Yatihalagal Raja Mahaviharya. The Thurusita program, aimed at shaping the minds of the youth, was also telecast. The Satpima program was also telecast from the Aukana Raja Mahaviharya. Chief Operating Officer of the MTV Channel Private Limited, Yasarat Kamal Seri, offered a gold-plated casket to the Mahasangha. The painting of the Aukana Buddha statue, created by renowned artist Hemanta Varkapitiya, was also presented. The song created for the Aukana Raja Mahaviharya by Sirasa TV was unveiled during the Sirasa Namami live broadcast. Sung by Yash Kakulathunga to the music of Tarinduranathunga, the lyrics were written by Venerable Sagama Anumadasi Thera. COO of MTV Yasarat Kamal Seri, Director Sirasa TV Dharma Shri Bandare Kanayaka, Director Public Relations of the Sirasa Media Network Priyantha Vijay Singha attended this occasion. Ape Pansala program, conducted with the participation of Venerable Dr. Kandegama Deepa Vanshalankara Thera, was also telecast. Group Director of Capital Maharaja Group, S.C. Veerasekara, was also in participation. Podisadugeng Ahanna program was also telecast with the participation of the students from the Aukana Dhammadina Dhamma School.
නම කියන්න අවස උදාර ගුණදම් සිත දරුවෝ මවගෙන් මැටි
Sirasa Namami Poe Day program ended with the Gilanpasa Puja. The ceremonial washing of the Aukana Buddha statue also took place today.
Samadati sarana yami.
The Gammadda Damsaviya Poe Day program was held today, centering the historic Upulvehera Raja Mahaviharya in Kakirawa. The program commenced after observing the 8 precepts. The Dhamma discussion under this program was held in the afternoon by Chief Incumbent Venerable Dagama Dhammalankara Thera. The Sambuddha Puja, which is organized on every Poe Day at the Shakya Malaka opposite the headquarters of Sirasa Media Network, was held this afternoon. The staff of Sirasa Media Networks, the Panama Broadcasting Center, engaged in religious observances in the morning.
The Maritime Environment Protection Authority says that 26 ships have polluted the Sea of Sri Lanka within a year. MEPA revealed these information during a media briefing to discuss the progress of the first phase of the pilot project on satellite-based oil spill monitoring in Sri Lanka in Colombo.
And when we presented these results to all the stakeholders, they were very surprised by the results because they probably did not expect to see so many pollutions in the national waters. And when we presented these results to all the stakeholders, they were very surprised by the results because they probably did not expect to see so many pollutions in the national waters. And when we presented these results to all the stakeholders, they were very surprised by the results because they probably did not expect to see so many pollutions in the national waters. So in total, 115 pollutions were detected during 12 months, which means that on average, each time we were acquiring an image, we had a more than 50% chance to see a pollution in this image. And we also did an estimation of the volume of pollutant this represents. Think that in total, the total volume of pollutants that we have seen during this 12 months project was more than 6 million liters of pollutants released to the Sri Lankan waters. So on average, every month, we estimate that 500,000 liters of pollutants have been relieved every month during this period into the Sri Lankan waters. And to give you an idea, the amount of pollutant which was released by the incident of the Express Pearl in 2021 was 350,000 liters. So this means that on average, we have the equivalent volume of the Express Pearl released to Sri Lankan waters every month. So that's the first striking result of this project. So, as you know, not only we were able to detect the pollutions, but we were also able to identify the potential polluters in some cases. And for this project, we were able to do so in 26 cases. So out of the 115 pollutions detected, in 26 cases, we were also able to identify the polluter and to point to them to take possible actions.
It was revealed that within a span of an year, 26 vessels have polluted the sea of Sri Lanka. However, legal actions was only pursued against one of these vessels.
Although we found that 26 vessels have contaminated the sea of Sri Lanka during the project, we were only able to take legal action against one vessel. The main reason for this is that sometimes when this information is received, those ships have already left our area. We have no opportunity to detain those vessels. In certain instances, due to the nature of this project, we lacked a ground station, resulting in us receiving this information only after 12 hours. Therefore, we often find it challenging to take timely action.
The incidents involving the Express Pearl and New Diamond are considered the largest recent maritime disasters in the sea of Sri Lanka. Questions were raised regarding the legal actions taken concerning the environmental damage caused by these incidents.
New Diamond නෞකාව සම්බන්ධව අපරාධ නීතිය යටතේ නඩු පවරලා පනතේ ප්‍රතිපාදන අනුව මිලියන 12ක වන්දියක් ලබා ගන්න හැකියාව ලැබුණා.
Regarding the New Diamond vessel, we have successfully filed criminal charges under the law and are seeking compensation of 12 million. Additionally, civil cases have also been initiated. Cases have indeed been filed, not just left unresolved. The case is currently under examination. We cannot definitively conclude regarding the timeline for resolution. Following this, if we pursue action against the MV Express Pearl, that vessel is also facing criminal liability in Sri Lanka. This case is likewise under examination in court. While attempting to file for civil liability in Sri Lanka, our primary actions have been coordinated with the Attorney General's Department and the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice has secured cabinet approval to pursue the civil liability case in Singapore. Therefore, once filed in Singapore, there will be a waiting period for that case as well. The decision to file in Singapore arises from complications with the current law, as even if a ruling is made in Sri Lanka, there could be challenges related to its enforcement. However, this issue and decision are beyond our control as an institution.
තීරණය ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම සම්බන්ධව යම් ගැටලු ඇති වෙයි කියන හේතුව මත තමයි සිංගප්පූරුවේ නඩුව පවරලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි ඒ කාරණාවත් ඒ තීරණයත් අපෙන් පරිබාහිරයි ආයතනයක් විදියට.
In just 1 year, the Sea of Sri Lanka has been severely affected by 26 ships. But did this environmental disaster only affect our sea? Over the past few years, what has happened to our vibrant forests and treasured reserves? What happened to Sri Lanka?
What happened to Sri Lanka?
Singharaja, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is in jeopardy. Politicians and their henchmen have repeatedly invaded the boundaries of Singharaja. Some even seek to transform this critical ecosystem into a zone housing hotels. They even cleared the paths for access. Despite widespread protests, the Department of Wildlife Conservation and the Central Environmental Authority have turned a blind eye to the consequences. Did the roadwork stop? No. Did the hotel stop? No. In the Ampara district, the Rambakan Noya has long been the home of indigenous communities. The vital reservoir provides water for the people of the Mahavali and Padavir, fulfilling their essential needs. Yet, in 2021, it faced a troubling fate as the Mahavali authority divided the reservoir among private companies, threatening local farmers and the indigenous communities. Today, there is still no solution in sight. In Anuradhapura, a wealthy investor was directed to cultivate aloe vera on over 100,000 acres, promising a whopping $783 million investment. In the Rajanganaya and Nochiagama divisional secretariats, 10,000 acres were set aside for cultivation, along with an additional 102,000 acres. Public outrage erupted, but no saplings were planted despite cabinet decisions. Now, the investor finds himself caught in legal battles. In Anavilundava, a politician's brother was accused of bulldozing the Ramsar wetlands. They claimed it was for shrimp farming. About an acre of this precious wetland, protected by the Department of Forest Conservation, was bulldozed overnight. This destruction occurred while a basic plan for the restoration of mangroves was being prepared. This is not just land. It is a lifeline for wildlife. Then there's Wilpattu, our largest wildlife sanctuary, teetering on the edge. Home to 605 plant species and 328 animals, it is an irreplaceable treasure. The story of deforestation in Wilpattu dates back to January 2010. Amid the presidential election frenzy, a road was hastily cut through the Wilpattu National Park. And by 2013, a presidential task force stepped in to resettle those displaced from the sanctuary's buffer zone. But this was just the beginning of the battle. Environmentalists and civil organizations relentlessly exposed illegal clearances for housing, emphasizing the absence of proper environmental assessments. In the end, this fight found its way to the courts, where the struggle for justice continues. We barely scratched the surface of the colossal environmental destruction out there. Development projects have drained our resources, plundering without remorse. How many environmental crimes have been committed under the guise of progress? And what is the real cost? It is staggering, beyond billions of dollars.
The power of the people.
Up next is Action TV.
While there are laws that govern state property, the environment, as well as forest conservation and urban development, there are questions as to if officials who are entrusted with implementing the law are actively enforcing the provisions of these laws. An incident that occurred at the summit of the Ambuluava mountain supports these concerns. An attempt by a group of individuals who are attempting to claim state land in Ambuluava to prevent officials from performing their duties ended in failure. While 112 hectares of this land, that is 210 hectares, is owned by the Public Trustees Department, the remaining 98 hectares is owned by the Department of Wildlife Conservation, and this situation had arisen as a result of this 98 hectares not being surveyed properly.
මහාවාරකාර දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවෙන් අහලා නෙමෙයි ජනවාරි මාසේ පටන් ගත්තා.
නෑ අපේ කිසිදු සම්බන්ධයක් නෑ. නෑ. අපෙන් කවදාවත් මේ මනුස්සයෙක් එක්ක කරගත්තේ නෑ. ඔගේ දෙයකට වැඩ කරන්න ඕන කියලා එහෙම නෙවෙයි කරගත්තේ නෑ.
ඔය 2023 මම ලියුමක් කියුවා මේකට ඔබතුමාලා මහාවාරකාර දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට මොකද්ද ගන්න තියෙන්නේ?
මාර්තු 8 වෙනිදා
මොකද දන්නවද මෙතන තියෙන කියන්නේ ප්‍රධාන මහාවාරකාර දෙතුමා සම්බන්ධ වෙන කාරණේ තමයි හිගම.
මේ සම්බන්ධ රිපෝට් එකක් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඔබතුමීට අපි ලබා දෙනවා.
හරි හොඳයි.
A decision has been reached to rename the Kundasale Keheliya Rambukwala Primary School in the Vathegama Education Zone in Kandy.
Central Province Governor Professor S.B.S. Abekun said that he had approved the proposal to rename the school. The proposal was submitted by the Provincial Department of Education. Moving forward, the school will be known as the Kundasale Royal Primary School.
With the involvement of the Central Province Governor, the Ceylon Teachers Union held a media briefing today regarding the proposal to rename the Kundasale Keheliya Rambukwala Primary School.
These past few days, we saw Keheliya Rambukwala serve his time in prison for the crimes he committed in the health sector. So what kind of inspiration do people like this even offer? We appreciate the former governor for taking the decision to change the school's name. In order to exclude politics from schools, the name must be changed. This was a good move. Next, we hope to bring the same change to the Sarath Ekanayaka Primary School. That is not all. There are schools named after the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. How do these exist? Aren't the officers and former secretaries aware of these circulars? It is by violating these circulars has the school been named Mahinda Rajapaksa. And now Mahinda Rajapaksa and Bandula Gunawardena are both home and neither will they be contesting the elections. And so this process needs to be changed.
President of the Republic of Seychelles, Wawel Ram Kalawan, presided over the appointment of Vincent Pereira as the new Attorney General of the Republic of Seychelles.
President of the Republic of Seychelles, Wawel Ram Kalawan, presided over the appointment of Vincent Pereira as the new Attorney General of the Republic of Seychelles. The appointment followed recommendations from the Constitutional Appointments Authority in line with Article 76(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Seychelles. Pereira's initial term will span 4 years. In a solemn ceremony, Vincent Pereira took the oath of allegiance and the judicial oath before President Ram Kalawan, witnessed by government officials and family members. A distinguished legal professional with over 2 decades of experience, Pereira brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to his new role. He holds a master's degree in law from the University of Colombo and is a qualified attorney at law of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka, a barrister and solicitor in Fiji, and an accredited mediator at the Singapore Mediation Centre. His 24-year career spans both civil and criminal law, including roles in the judiciary, public prosecution, and private practice across multiple jurisdictions.
A Bangladeshi court has ordered an arrest warrant for former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who fled to India in August after she was ousted by the mass protests.
Bangladeshi former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is wanted by Bangladesh's International Criminal Tribunal for her alleged involvement in crimes against humanity that took place during the demonstrations in which hundreds were killed. Arrest warrants have also been issued for 45 others, including former government ministers, who also fled the country. According to reports, 77-year-old Hasina has not been seen in public since fleeing Bangladesh. Her last official whereabouts is a military air base near India's capital, Delhi. She was initially expected to stay in India for a short time, but reports say her attempts to seek asylum elsewhere have been unsuccessful so far. The new interim government in Bangladesh has revoked her diplomatic passport, and the two countries have a bilateral extradition treaty which would permit her return to face criminal trial.
Former One Direction singer Liam Payne has died aged 31 in Argentina.
Driving too fast, moon is breaking.
Injuries incompatible with life as a result of his fall. He added that Payne was taken to the Sirasa hospital after a call was made to emergency services.
I know that in the morning
Said on Thursday that it was checking the possibility that Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, Israel's most wanted enemy, was among the 3 militants killed during an operation in the Gaza Strip.
According to the Israeli army, Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader who masterminded the October 7th attack on Israel that triggered the war in Gaza, may have been killed. A statement released on Thursday afternoon said, quote-unquote, during Israel Defense Forces operations in the Gaza Strip, 3 terrorists were eliminated. The IDF is checking the possibility that one of the terrorists was Yahya Sinwar. At this stage, the identity of the terrorists cannot be confirmed. Several security officials speaking anonymously told Israeli media that the bodies had been taken to Israel for DNA tests and that the IDF assesses with high probability that one of those killed was Sinwar.
The decisive third and final T20 international between Sri Lanka and West Indies is currently underway at the Rangiri Dambulla International Stadium. Batting first, West Indies posted a total of 162 runs for the loss of 8 wickets, setting a target of 163 runs for Sri Lanka to win. Sri Lanka are currently on 132 for 1 in 14.5 overs, requiring 31 runs in 31 balls. New Zealand's bowling attack were all over India with deadly accurate bowling as they bowled out India for 46, their lowest score at home and third lowest overall in the first test match of the series. India won the toss and elected to bat first in the first test held at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, Bengaluru. Tim Southee got things off to a start for New Zealand as he dismissed Rohit Sharma for just 2 runs. Veteran Virat Kohli was also sent back to the dressing room without troubling the scorers for a duck of 9 deliveries. India were cheaply dismissed for 46 of 31.2 overs with none of their batsmen going past 20. Matt Henry was the standout for the Kiwis' bowling department as he bagged 5 wickets that took him to 100 test wickets. At the end of day's play, New Zealand were 180 runs for the loss of 3 wickets. Devon Conway missed out on a century after being dismissed for 91 of Ravichandran Ashwin. And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.